Hi everyone, I hope everyone is having a good December 25th, Saturnalia, Yule, Christmas, whatever it is that you celebrate. The sun is gaining light, which is a nice feeling. You can kind of feel that kind of energy in yourself, and so enjoy the energies. We do have a full moon coming up. The moon looks pretty full as it is. Right now it's in Gemini. The moon moves into Cancer on the 26th, but there are some energies about Christmas Day, the 25th, that might be a little challenging. The moon in Gemini at the moment is a mutable sign, and it's going to square the planets in Pisces, which are Saturn. Saturn's at 2 degrees, so at this moment they have already squared. But come the evening of the 25th, around 10 p.m., the moon will square Neptune and at 25 degrees, and then the moon will oppose Mars and Mercury retrograde. And so with these two, Mercury retrograde will be at 26 degrees and Mars will be at 23. And so as Mercury moves backwards and Mars moves forward, the moon will be opposing somewhere in between that. So our emotions are going to be really, we're going to feel like finding black and white situations, polarities, trying to find maybe like holes in someone's explanation of things, or Sagittarius with Mercury and Mars, that can be a very energized, escalated conversation, expressions of beliefs, and in the sign of Sagittarius, that does have the tendency to be very dogmatic. And so the moon in Gemini will have a tendency to polarize things and see the opposite, kind of the clown, or maybe it can be experienced as backhanded compliments, so that's just something to keep in mind. And this is going to form a T-square to Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune can be very confusing, not having all the facts, illusions, deception, on the lower end of that energy, because every energy has a high and low vibe. And just another thing to point out about this particular aspect, this placement in the sky with these planets, Mercury, Mars, the moon. So these are all in mutable signs, and these mutable signs want to see the options. Like they move things, they gather the information, and they kind of analyze, what is truth. And that's kind of the common thread among the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. They're all looking for the truth. The Jupiter ruled signs, Pisces and Sagittarius, have like a very big picture kind of perspective, and Gemini and Virgo are more concerned about the details. And so there can be pushback, and there can be a tug of war. There can be like a struggle, basically, with the four signs all together. And with the placement of there's a couple of asteroids that are in Virgo. So Juno is the asteroid of marriage, and I consider it to have the energy of like being the manager of the marriage. So it's relationship energy, not necessarily like attraction or anything incredibly romantic. It's more about like the understanding between two people and how partnerships are managed. And in the sign of Virgo, it's like very service oriented, and it will be playing into this square with Neptune, the moon, Mercury retrograde, Mars. And so this can affect the partnerships that we are currently in, whether it's a romantic partnership, business partnership, anything that involves an understanding of reciprocity. Juno is at 20 degrees in Virgo, and then Black Moon Lilith is also in Virgo at 15 degrees, and Black Moon Lilith is like the dark side of the moon. Virgos are very meticulous and detail-oriented, likes to be of service. It's all about, wanting to improve someone's situation. And with Black Moon Lilith being the darker side of those things, it can be being like overly critical, or like just kind of mean. Like it's like a superiority. It's almost like a superiority complex in a way. Perfectionism is a Virgo keyword, and so that perfectionism can express itself in a very like not so nice way when Black Moon Lilith is involved. And with Black Moon Lilith at 15 degrees, which is a Gemini degree. If you're looking at degree theory, Gemini with this and Gemini, this can be like a challenge to someone's information or the news, or like just someone's knowledge, like how much, like where they get their resources. I mean, it can play out in several different ways, but that can play into this mutable grand square. And so, I mean, squares can be challenging, but there's also the, the challenge, if you choose to accept it, to kind of, pause and reflect on, Gemini. The moon in Gemini is going to want to, like, look at all the different sides of the conversation. But Neptune will really want to kind of, with Neptune and Pisces, we're kind of asked to, and like Neptune is direct, like Mercury is retrograde, Mars is direct, and so that Mars square Neptune, like by itself, is going to have that feeling of like running in water, like it's going to want you to slow down. So like kind of, slow your roll, like take a breather, close your eyes, like it. And this energy can also kind of just make us want to retreat. I mean, there's a lot going on with festivities, a lot of big crowds, and like some of us, depending on our personal placements, may want to retreat from the crowds and the lights and all the festivities. There's also the energy of enjoying, like taking a break from the routine and like doing something that keeps you centered. So having time to be creative and just have fun and not like overly think about anything really. Like there's no pressure, like don't force yourself to do something that you are not really into. Yeah, if your heart is not into it, then you have every right to gently offer the idea or the option that you do, that your inner child is yearning for. So that's on December 25th, and so that's just, something to keep in mind. And another thing, there's a couple other things too. And with Mars in Sagittarius, which is a fire sign, it is in a flowing aspect to the North Node in Aries. And so the Aries North Node is currently at 22 degrees, and Mars in Sagittarius at 23. And Mars is the ruler of the North Node. Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so this is really kind of allowing us to carve a path to freedom. That is a great aspect to have, because it's kind of like pushing us forward. Really could be uncomfortable because the North Node is a direction that we haven't been in before, but Mars energizes, and it really encourages us and gives us energy to pursue those goals. And in Sagittarius, it can be about our beliefs, foreign travel, expanding our horizons. Like Sagittarius is also a truth seeker. All it wants to do is, explore. So really going for it. And Aries wants to be independent, is more impulsive. Fire signs do act from the heart. They are very, childlike. They want to be able to have the attention, do what they want to do, like at a moment's notice, like be the first. And they don't want to think too much about it, like they are natural born leaders because they are very courageous. And so with this trine from Mars to the North Node in fire signs, that's going to be a very supportive energy to take advantage of. We just have to, keep in mind and make sure that we're not being assholes about it, like with the Gemini opposing this energy, opposing Mars and Mercury, and then with Neptune squaring it, it can be a very, like escalated, overzealous escalated expression, and we don't even have all the facts because Neptune confuses things. So yeah, that's another thing to take advantage of. I mean, that fire trine is very helpful, is very tangible. And then with the south node in Libra, we want to look at where the ruler of Libra is, and the ruler of Libra is Venus, which is in Scorpio. And Venus in Scorpio is at 25 degrees. And so it is actually in a flowing aspect with Neptune and Pisces. So they are both at 25 degrees. And the south node is where we want to let go and release those things that we are not aligned with. And Scorpio, with Venus in Scorpio, it's really actually encouraging us to look at those negative, undesirable aspects in relationships. And so that's another supportive energy that we can also take advantage of. That can be also an uncomfortable feeling because we're seeing things that we don't typically want to look at. But it is there to help us make better decisions and evolve. So, get used to feeling uncomfortable. These are only intended for our soul's evolution. So yeah, that is the 25th. The new moon is on the 26th on Tuesday at 4:33 p.m. Pacific Standard with the someone's got the zoomies, okay. With the moon in Cancer and the sun in Capricorn. So when those two are opposite from one another, then that creates the full moon. So when you look to the west and the sun is setting, the moon will be rising. And this particular full moon is at 4 degrees and 58 minutes, I believe. And so that's really asking us to think about where our heart is. If, home is where the heart is, where is our heart? Are we focusing too much on, it is Capricorn season. This is the season to kind of strategize and think about and plan for the future. Like where do we want to hang our hat? Where do we want to hang our heart? What do we consider home? Like all these kind of questions are going to, or maybe already have been surfacing, or with Mercury retrograde, we're probably thinking a lot about our previous definitions of home and what we miss about it, what we don't miss about it. I'd be really curious to know how many people actually flew home for the holidays. A lot of people, a lot of my family who are spread out in the country stayed put. We didn't go back to our hometown. We didn't gather. Everybody, even in the hometown, are like kind of doing their own thing, like not even driving across town. But each family is different. Everybody's situation is different. Home looks different for everybody. But yeah, with this full moon in Cancer, it's really, with 4 degrees too, is a Cancer degree in degree theory. So it's really doubling down on figuring out, where we want to claim, how to claim our sense of home. So with these two, moon and sun, when they're opposites, there's a reflection going on, and that's considered an opposition. But also involved with this full moon is Saturn and Jupiter, which is retrograde at the moment. And these are all feminine energies. The moon in Cancer, the sun in Capricorn, Saturn in Pisces, and Jupiter in Taurus. These are all feminine energies. Cancer and Pisces are both water signs, and so Saturn and Pisces are trine. And then Capricorn and Taurus are earth signs, and the sun and Jupiter are sextile. And so with this particular pattern, it's considered a cradle, and it's like a cradle in feminine signs. And so this is like the feeling of growth and balance and fulfillment, really being creative, resourcefulness, like Saturn especially, and the sun being in sextile. And it's not exact, they're within a few degrees of each other. Saturn is at 2 degrees, Jupiter retrograde is at 5 degrees, and Jupiter's been at 5 degrees for a while now, so for probably 3 weeks or so, and Jupiter will turn direct at the end of the month. But these are all very supportive, productive energies. Like Saturn really wants us to make sure that we have every our processes in order. And Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and it's Capricorn season right now. And so Saturn, being the ruler of Capricorn, is playing a very supportive role in like allowing creative opportunities to come through and really allowing us to be more discerning with the morals of our processes. And then Jupiter is, once Jupiter goes direct, there's going to be a lot more of these abundant blessings. Like the sun is going to really allow things to materialize, and we'll be able to really reap the rewards that we've been sowing. And Saturn also rewards. It's like a very karmic teacher, and so if we've done the work, then we will reap the rewards. And another thing that's going on this day, on the 26th, later in the evening at 7:10 p.m., is Chiron in Aries. Chiron's been retrograde for the past few months, and it will go direct at 7:10 p.m. And Chiron is the wounded healer, so it's like that. And this is the collective Chiron. We all have a Chiron in our charts, and it's like how we. It's where we've been wounded. It's like that feeling of insecurities, like we might have. Like possibly wounds with our siblings, you know, or being heard or being seen. And with this in Aries, this is definitely about being seen. Aries likes to be the first. Like at 15 degrees, again a Gemini degree, this could be related to our voice. So being able to express ourselves and having the knowledge and information to be able to communicate. That will be kind of the topics of this particular Chiron in Aries, and with it going direct, we'll be more aware of our feelings, and like having the awareness of our feelings will allow us to make decisions based off of that. So if you think about 90 degrees being the square, which is a challenging aspect, where it's like the aspect of, if you don't get out of my way, then I'm going to run you over. Then the semi-square is half of that, which is about 45 degrees. And so the semi-square is like really trying to squeeze by. Like you can either, sometimes it can go unnoticed, but there, you know, depending on what's in your chart, can be activated. So there can be a feeling of your feelings being challenged, and you know, kind of could be a feeling of being triggered, you know, like where maybe someone points something out to you, and it kind of comes out of left field, you know, like it's like wasn't expected, and the response is either fight, freeze, or flight. Freeze or flight. So the response can be like, you know, removing yourself from the situation instead of like facing it head on. That's going to be something to kind of reflect on as well. The mutable squares are still going to be in play aside from the moon. The moon will be in Cancer, so it will no longer be in Gemini, but we'll still have, you know, Mercury and Mars squaring Neptune. And so we just have to keep that in mind with, you know, all the full moon vibes. You know, enjoy the Venus, Trine, Neptune energy. Like that can be a very dreamy kind of like enjoying. And there's a tendency to maybe go overboard with that, because Neptune does represent escapism. Venus and Scorpio can, you know, like Scorpio can represent like escaping into the darker side of realms. So that is something to be aware of. As planets start to move forward into Capricorn, those planets are going to square Chiron. And so Capricorn is really going to ask us to think about our healing process, like how to strategize the healing process, like having those conversations in a mature manner, because Saturn is like elder energy, and maybe we would even want to consult with a professional, and you know, like whether that's a therapist or an astrologer, or you know, some sort of resource to help us through this healing process. And this is, you know, like a lot of us have our Chiron in Aries. There's more people who have Chiron in Aries than any other sign. So we probably, it wouldn't hurt to take a look and see where a Chiron is placed, and if it is in Aries, just be aware of the Capricorn energies that are coming into play and like really forcing us to take a look at where we fit into this trauma bond, or like holding on to these old narratives. We're really changing our paradigm. We're really creating our own paradigm at this time. Like we are not subscribing to all the previous programming that we've kind of like been complacent about. We just kind of trusted the process, the systems that have been in place, but we are now realizing that those systems were put in place to not allow us to really reach our fullest potential. And we actually do have beautiful, unique gifts to offer the world, and it really takes bravery and courage to pursue those goals, to share those gifts with the world. So if you're, like right now is actually a time to, somewhat isolate and really come into your own and understand where you fit in the big picture. I mean, there's, groups that you've probably been a part of for such a long time. It can be difficult and challenging to break away. But I mean, there comes a point where, each of us will find this compulsion to really like be in alignment with ourselves. Like we're going to be drawn to the energy that we vibe with, like it's like really that simple, and just at this time it's kind of like, we have our own paths to pursue. And I mean, no offense, and it's great to be able to support one another, regardless of the differences in our lifestyles. But that North Node in Aries and like Mars and Sagittarius is really asking us to go beyond our comfort zone, exploring what else is out there. And so yeah, those are like really exploring what we consider to be home. And another thing about the Gemini Moon, it will be in trine to the Libra South Node, and so there's this flowing energy of coming to realizations of what we don't want to align ourselves with, because the South Node is the energy where we want to shed things and like let go of the energies that no longer serve us. And so with the Moon in Gemini also being in an air sign, we're going to understand and see like the things that we are coming up against in these squares, like the square to Neptune, and like the opposition to the Sag placements, Mars and Mercury. And the trine to Libra is going to help us come to some realizations that will help us move us forward. And then the ruler of Libra is Venus, which is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is very skilled at sussing out what doesn't vibe, like the truth of things, like what's being hidden. And so this can also look like seeing things for what they really are, and it's not always going to be pleasant. Like Scorpio is really good at has that proclivity of fighting the darker side of things. And so Venus in Scorpio will be in trine to Neptune in Pisces. So it's kind of really interesting how the astrology kind of plays out and works together. And another thing about the Cancer full moon, with this being in Cancer, Cancer is very like homebody vibes. And so, and it's the crab, like there's that feeling of wanting to maybe turn inward and be home, like be comfortable, like just kind of self-protect, with it also being at a Cancer degree, 4 degrees. I mean, I can just already feel like a cozy blanket, maybe a bowl of soup, something really comforting, like just creature comforts, food, like warm, home-cooked food. So that will also definitely be a vibe, I believe, I know here on the West Coast, San Francisco is supposed to rain on the 26th, which is when we have the full moon. So yeah, hopefully we'll still be able to see the full moon peak through the clouds. I hope the holidays treat you well and you stay warm and cozy and stay true to yourself. Yeah. Anyway, I hope that was helpful, and hopefully that all made sense. I'm hoping for all the best, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, thanks for listening.